Hello, hey, what's up guys? CodePunk here. Hello. So welcome to another tutorial on React.js. Today we're gonna do it live. I decided to go live instead of making another video. So today I'm gonna teach you guys how to create a data table component in React.js from scratch. I'm gonna share my screen and take you guys step by step from step one from scratch. And step by step we'll add sorting, filtering, and other data management into the component, and we'll make it a reusable component so you can use it in another project. Hey Arslan, hey Mist Gaming, I'll see the chat. If you guys have any kind of question and answer, or you want to start discussion, let me know in the comments. I'll try to not miss it out. And let's share my screen. Okay, there you go. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna go to desktop and create a new folder over here. Let's say um, tutorial, right? In this folder, I'm gonna open my command prompt or terminal. Okay, and I'll try to make it big so you guys can see. Let's create a new React project from scratch. Let's run npx create React app, and let's name it data table and let it run. This is gonna take a while. In the meantime, please don't forget to share the stream in your social media channels, Facebook profile, Twitter, so other beginners can follow and learn how to create a data table in React from scratch. Come on, take it a bit fast. Okay, awesome. I think it's time to start. Let's go into data dash table and let's run npm start. Yep. Okay, I'm going to open this folder in my favorite editor, which is VS Code. Let's zoom in a bit and let's remove this, right? Okay, let's clear out all these errors. And we've got ourselves a new React project. And okay, it is running over here in our browser. Let's take this browser to another desktop here. Okay, awesome. Okay, back to our editor. Okay, I'm gonna start. If you guys have any comment or any question, post it out. I'm gonna try to see it in between when we take some break. So let's see. Okay, so we have our basic React structure over here in app.js. We got all this scaffold, which is rendering this logo and this text, right? I'm just going to go and clear out all of this, but not the main div. And let's not import this logo because we aren't using it anymore. And also app.css. We're not going to use it, right? But let's keep it there right now. I think we'll need to add some styles. So first of all, I'm just going to create a simple table over here, right? And let's create a simple row in it. And what I'm going to do is let's add a column which will contain our first name, let's say John, and let's add another column, Doe, right? And there's another column which says if he's married or single. Let's make it single. And last column which tells his birth year, which is going to be 1992. All right, there's our table. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, let's go to app.css. Let's remove all of this code. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to reset all of the CSS back to padding 0, margin 0, and I'm going to set box sizing to border dash box so we don't get issues in spacing, right? For the table, I'm just going to call, let's change this app class to something React data table, right? And or because we're going to make it reusable, right? We're going to use namespaces over here. I'm just going to make it a bit simple. I'm not going to do add any complexity in this, but we can sure use any other way to keep the classes separate to conflict with any other project if we reuse this component in any other project, right? So I'm going to use just simple, let's say we're building it, right? So I'm going to say cp dash react, or we can say cp data table, right? Code punk. I'm gonna use that class over here and say table. Let's set border collapse to collapse and border to 1 pixel solid sharp e. Okay, that's good. Now let's call out all TDs and let's set their padding to 10 pixels from top bottom, 15 pixels from left right. All right, and also let's say with 100%, there it is, 100%, right? And let's also call out this class and set the max width right now because we are rendering it testing it. So we'll set it to 950 pixels, and let's set margin to 40 pixels or 50 pixels from top bottom, and auto from left right to make it center, just like that. Okay. Let's set the border to TDs so we can get this middle border too. And let's come back here and let's add a T head over here in our table to add some headings, right? So first will be first name, last name, and there's a marital status, right? And let's say year of birth. All right, let's go back. Okay, we also need to apply all of these styles to our headings. So let's just come here and use th. There we go. Let's align all of that to the left. Yep, looks good. Okay, right now, because we're building a reusable React data table component, right now this is nowhere near that, right? We just added a dummy data and we just tiled it, right? In order to make it into a reusable component, in order to make it searchable, paginatable, and sortable, we'll need to parse and pass this data into our component over here. All right. So I'm just gonna take all of this and I'm gonna create a new components folder over here. And let's create a new file over here and call it react data table.js. And from that file, I'm going to export a default function named react data table. And from that, I'm going to return this div. Let's mount that component over here. There we go. Same as before, right? So let's start by making our component reusable by passing it a data prop over here. So all of this data that we need to render in a component, we need to make it passable from the props. So whatever data the user passes in, it renders that data, right? Let's okay, I have a sample data that I'm gonna import, right? I'm gonna create a class, a file in our source folder called sample data.js, and I'm gonna paste that. All right, let's get that out. Okay, so this is our sample data over here, a data array exported from our file. Close it, and let's import sample data from sample data. All right, let's pass that data over here in the prop. Awesome. There we go. We're fetching, but right now we're not rendering the data from that data prop, right? In order to render the data from data prop, we need to loop from that data prop, right? So, but there's one question first. How do we know what key value pair we need to render in over here? What values we need to render from the data prop, right? Whatever the data can be a single array, a single object containing a name in the first name, or it even does not have any first name key value pair, right? So how do we know that? For that, we also need another prop called columns. So we're gonna give the user power to render whatever columns they want to render, right? Let's create a sample columns array over here. In this array, we'll have a column object, right? and each column object will contain a title. So first column we need is the first name, and the second key value here will be the field. Whatever field from our sample data, go to sample data, right? So whatever field that we need to render in that column, the user can pass that over here. So exactly this first name field we need to render for this column, right? Let's pass this in the columns prop, and let's use that columns prop to render this th over here. Okay, I'm gonna clear it out. Let's loop through columns dot map each column, right? And let's return a th from it, and in that th we need to render the column dot title. And let's not forget to add the key, right? So I'm just going to use the column, and let's say column dot field key over here. There we go. We're just rendering the column over here. Okay, there's only one column that we passed, right? We also need to display that data depending on that column's array. Over here, we'll just come here and let's create a tbody tag over here. We need to wrap all our data into tbody as per HTML rules. Okay, let's loop through data array over here, data.map, and let's say data row, right? And in that data row, we just return, awesome, return a tr from in there, and in that tr we again loop from columns, right? Columns.map, and for each column we return a td, and in that td we only we get that data by using the column.field property here, right? There's data row, right? So we need to use data row instead of data over here. We'll also pass the key prop over here. Let's use the index over here. I think that'll be a good thing just to ignore, just to get rid of that key warning in React.js. So I'm gonna use the let's say index. All right, there we go. We only have one column right now, so let's add other columns. To add other columns, we only need to copy and paste this object and specify that columns field. There we go. We got the last name, right? And let's display the marital status. So let's say marital status in this over here, but actually the key for marital status is only status, so it allows us to pass in that key over here. We'll say year of birth, and over here it says only year. Let's say year. There we have all the data right now over here to display, right? And this is, believe me, this is the simplest React data table component right now. You can pass in data and pass in columns to display all that data depending on whatever columns you pass to this component. Right now, we only need to implement sorting, filtering, and pagination into this data table component. All right, let's see if we have any comment or question in between. Nope, it's good. So let's go on and add all the functionality over here, right? What we need to do is, let's say, sorting, and we also need to do the filtering, and we also need to apply pagination, right? We need to do these two things. First of all, let's add pagination. Okay. For pagination, we're just going to create some state variables over here. So the first state variable that we'll create is the, wait, what have I done? Okay, so the first state variable that we'll create is the rows per page, how many rows per page we want to show, right? By default, we'll use 5. All right, so we can also test with this data, right? Awesome. And we'll also create another state variable which will say on which page we are right now. By default, will always be on 1. Okay. To display our pagination, we need to determine some things, right? We need to slice our data array over here. So on top over here, I'm just going to create the results array and pass it data initially, and use that results array over here instead of data. So whatever after filtering, sorting, and pagination we'll have in the results array will be displayed in our tbody or data table over here. All right, let's come here in the pagination, and let's see in results. What we'll do is we'll slice our data array, right? But we'll not use data, but we'll use instead results, right? Because we're doing all of our operations on the results array. So we'll slice it from the 0 and until the 5, right? So from 0 to 5. There we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The 5th element is not included, right? 5th is the last. So what right now what we do is, if we go on the second page, we need to slice it from 5 to 10, right? We need to determine that. So let's take this start and end point into a variable or a constant over here, and let's make these dynamic depending on the current page. So what the start point will be the current page, right? We're on the current page at the first page, right? So current page -1, and that means 0. So if we're on the second page, that means 2 minus 1, which is 1, right? So we need to multiply it with rows per page, so it jumps from 0 to 5, then to 10. There we go, we got our start point. Now we need to determine the endpoint. An endpoint will always be current page multiplied by rows per page. That means first page is our current page, right? 1 multiplied by 5, which is 5, right? So 2 multiplied by 5, which will be 10, and that means we only need to render that until that endpoint. Okay, we can test this out by setting our state variable of current page to 2. So right now we have the results from James to Robert, and if we go our sample data, we got James, Ronald, Lisa, Daniel, Robert. And on the second page, we'll start from Paul, Sarah, Karen, Mark, and Jeff, right? Let's set this to 2, and let's see. We got Paul until Jeff, right? So we have implemented the pagination, right? Now we only need to show the pagination controls at the bottom over here. Let's do that. But first, let's add some icons to our project. For that, I'm going to use React icons, which is a simple package you can install by calling this command, right? I'm going to stop the project over here, and I'm gonna say npm I react icons dash dash save. Let's let it install the package into our project. Okay, we can start again. Let's say npm start, and okay, let's use that package, right? To use that, we'll just search over here the arrow, let's say arrow, oh, what's happening? Okay, started arrow dash left. Nope. Let's say the arrow. Okay, we can use these icons. I'm going to use this for the previous. Let's create some buttons over here. In the T body, after T body, let's create T foot. And in T foot, we're going to create a div. And in that div, let's give the class name Pagination. And let's create two buttons, right? This will be the previous button, and we can add that over here. AI outline arrow left. Let's copy this and turn this into right. So we got two buttons. Let's import those also from AI arrow and AI right from React icons slash AI. All right, we got that. Let's see our app. Okay, it's not defined, not defined. Point them. Let's reload. Yep, there it is. Let's style these buttons first before adding the functionality. It gives a bit of, excitement. So let's go to data table t foot button, and let's also create another selector over here which says pagination, right? Okay, for pagination, I'm not going to call something right now, but I'll use it later. For t foot, let's add the padding as 10 pixel, 0 pixels from left light. Let's set display flex, align items center, and justify them by space between. For buttons, let's remove our background, right? Let's make it CCCREE. I think that's good. And let's add the border at 1 pixel solid CCC. Add the padding 5 pixel. I think 5 pixels enough, right? We got ourselves some nice buttons, but let's add the cursor pointer. So we get the pointer hand when hovering over these buttons, and that makes it clickable, right? Okay, so right now we need to add the functionality of go to second page and go to previous page, right? Let's come here and let's use on click of this button. Okay, by clicking on this previous button, we need to go to our previous page, right? So if we're on the first page, we need to go to we can't go to previous then first page, that will be 0. So this button should be disabled, but we'll add that later. Right now, what we're gonna do is set current page to current page -1, right? And for this button, let's come here on click, add a callback, current page +1. All right, so when I click on this button, we go to our second results, third, but when I click on it more than 3 times, it gives us 0 results. And same as that, if we go to the page before the first page, it gives us 0. So we need to disable these buttons when we have reached the limit, right? Let's add some if checks over here. To do that, we also need to determine how much of total pages we have of our data, right? For that, let's create a total pages constant over here, and let's do the results dot length divided by rows per page. And if there is a floating point, seal it. Okay, go to next number, right? Okay, so what we do right now, we use this total pages over here and as an if check. So if the current page is less than total pages, then set the current page to +1, right? So we're not able to go to the, oh, sorry. So we need to right, what we need to do over here is, let's equal to total pages. What have we done? Okay. Oops, this is not working. Let's go back. We're testing the second button. Let's do a reload so it slices good, right? We have these, and let's go to next, right? Go to first page. Okay, what we need to do is, if current page is still less than total pages, then we only need to set the current page to +1, right? And that should work. Do a reload. Let's go to next page, which is not working right now. Okay, let's see. Total results divided by rows per page. That's good. Okay, what we need to do is do some debugging over here. So let's log out the current page and total pages. All right, reload would be good. Let's see, the console cannot appear as a child T-foot. Oh, we'll get to that later. Right now, let's click on that one, right? So we only have one page. That means our total pages calculation is wrong. We are using the rows per page. So rows per page is 5, and total results. All right. So what we're doing is we're slicing the results array, and afterwards we're checking its length, right? We need to check its length before slicing it. Let's do a reload and go. Right, we're good. And we also need to apply that over here to our previous current page is greater than 0. Then we can do is greater than or equal to 1. Greater than 1, sorry. Yep. And let's add it to that condition. There it is. Let's test one more time. Yep. Going back, click on it, and go back. Okay, that's good. All right, next we need to add a select over here which says that you can switch how many rows per page you want. So we can simply let's first move this out of the T-foot, and let's add a footer right here. Okay, and remove this T-foot, and let's change the select over here in the CSS over here. Okay, there's his. Let's see. Yep, working good. Okay, in JS, let's come here and okay, let's add a select over here, and in that select we're going to give user the ability to switch the rows per page. Let's create an option, right? So I'm going to create a new array of length, let's say 30, and I'm going to fill it with 0, and let's map to it. Let's use its, don't use its value, but its index, right? And I'm going to name it n, and in that I'm going to return the option. And in option, let's give the value n plus 5, so user can start from 5 and go up to 30 values, which means 35. Um let's make it 45, so user can switch up to 50. There it is, from 5 to 49. Let's make it 46. All right, so on change of this select, we're going to set the rows per page to this selectors value. That's going to be target dot value, right? So what I'm going to do is set it to 10. We see 10 rows per page, right? If I set it to 9, it's automatically going to calculate all the pages, and it won't let us go to the next page because we're doing that over here when rendering the component, so it automatically does that. All right, our pagination is good right now. Now we need to implement this sorting and filtering. For that, I'm just going to take a 2 to 3 minutes break, and I'm going to come back, right? Hello. Hey, what's up guys? I'm back from the break. So the last what we did is the sorting. Hey, what's up guys? I'm back. And let's implement sorting. Right. Okay, let's implement sorting in our table. Okay, let's go over here. For that, I'm just going to create two state variables. First will be the sort column, set sort column, use state. Okay, let me change my focus, right? For 1 hour. Okay. So the default sort column is an empty string, and I'm gonna create another state variable which is going to be sort order, right? Set sort order. Okay, so the default order will be ascending. All right. Okay, let's come to the sorting over here, and let's turn these th into the button, and not the th into the button, but let's expand these th and let's create a button in them, right? That's good. Okay, let's also style this because it doesn't look good, right? So let's come over here and copy this selector, and for button let's give it background none, and remove the border, and let's use font weight bold. That's good, but it is clickable, right? So we're gonna turn it into cursor pointer, so it gives a pointy cursor when we move over it, right? Hover on it. Let's come back over here. So on the click of this button, what we're going to do is we'll use the we'll set that sort column, set the sort column to this column, right? Set that to this column. All right. Okay, so if that column has already been set, we'll see all of those to switch the sort order. Also, we'll all see all of those condition in future right now after implementing this. But right now, let's keep it simple and implement the filtering over here. For that, we'll just filter the data. Let's make results and go to results. For that, we're going to use dot filter, right? And for filter, we'll get all of the data rows in the loop, and whatever oops, well, not filtering right now, I forgot, we're sorting, right? So we need to sort the table by that, right, by the specified column which is in the sort column, right? So what we'll do over here is we'll simply call the sort method on our results array, which accepts a compare method you see in this documentation, and that method has two parameters which we need to compare in the nature, right? But for how do we compare all of this data, right? So if user is trying to sort this by last name, how do we compare strings? And if user is trying to sort by the year of birth, how do we compare these integers? For that, I got a perfect method which is locale compare, right? What this also gives us the benefit, right? It compares two strings, even if they contain the integers, but it gives us more benefit if those strings are in the local language, whatever language we have. Like if it is Italian, Spanish, or any language, that whatever local your computer is using, it will compare those strings in that language, and whatever comes first, it will keep that first. So we'll return the result of, right, locale compare, comparing it to the second. So whatever the result is, we'll return it back. But there's more to this, right? We need to filter by the specified column, whichever column is clicked, and that column is in the sort column, right? Right now, A and B are the data rows, right? So to clear that ambiguity, we can use the first row, and we can say the other row, right? We'll compare the first row's sort column to the other row's sort column. But wait, there's something more, right? We cannot call the locale compare in any of the data type except string. It is the prototype method defined in the prototype of string, right? So we can only do this by converting whatever is into the string over here to the string, right? There it is. So what this will do is this will filter all the data by comparing it, right? Okay, let's do reload. I got back. There we go. It's saying cannot read properties of undefined locale compare. Okay. First row sort column. Okay, so by default our sorting is empty, right? We need to keep it in the condition. So if sort column is not an empty string, and let's make it type check, right? Okay, let's go and click on I'm gonna make it 10 rows first. I'm gonna click on last name. Okay, there it is again. Okay, let's debug this. Why is it happening? Cannot read properties of undefined, reading to string. Right, that error is over here. So first row sort column is empty. Let's see. Oh, right. Because we're not passing the field over here, but we're setting the entire column as sort column, right? We can use that data in any future implementation if we do in this component. But right now, let's not pass in the whole column. Let's only pass in the field. So the field comes here, and we get that data into the string. Let's do a reload, and okay, let's set it to 10, and let's filter by last name. CCCHLLMM. It sorts it out, right? If we do it by marital status, right, there it is, married, single, year of birth 1968, 70, 75, in ascending order, right? That's good. But right now we need to switch it if we click it again to descending order. For that, right now we're setting the sort column. We're setting the sort column to column.field. But if let's do the set the sort order also to ascending by default, right? And let's add an if condition over here. So if the sort column is already equals to column.field, field, then we'll only switch the sort order to descending instead of ascending, right? Else we're gonna set it to the column and ascending. Okay, let's also implement the ascending order over here. So that is pretty much simple because we're using array for the data. We can only say like if sort order is equals to descending, we can only do results equals to results dot reverse. We're going to reverse that sorted array, and that's going to turn it into the descending, right? Let's see, first name, and click it again. Nope, not working. Let's see what's the problem. Okay, let's console log sort column and column dot field and their result, right? Sort column equals to column dot field. All right, let's see our console, and let's click on first name. All right, it's, yeah, but we still need to switch it up, even if it is still this column, right? We need to switch it up. So let's say if sort order is equals to ascending, let's set it to descending, else sort order, sorry, set sort order to ascending. All right, it is switching up, right? If we set it to this one, this is switching it up. So this one, this is switching it up, right? That's good. Let's remove the logging statement right now. Okay, we're good with this sorting. Let's move on to filtering, but before that we still need to show the indicator how we're sorting over here right now. Okay, for that we're still going to use those arrows, but this time we're going to use arrow up and arrow down. Okay, come to these buttons over here, and let's render that arrow over here, and we're going to do that by doing something like let's say if sort column is equals to column dot field, if this is the sorting column, right? And let's come into that condition, else return null. And in that condition we'll also add another condition. We'll check for the sort order. If sort order is equal to ascending, then we're going to render the arrow up, right? Okay, and if it is not, we're gonna render the arrow down. I think we did it backwards, right? Down. All right, that's good. So let's come over here. This is it. So if I click on marital status, it says going down because it is ascending order, right? Going up, right? That's good. Last name, first name. Yep. So the last thing that we need to render over here is the search bar to filter our results, right? For that, we're going to create a simple input over here, type equal to text, and let's give it a class name of search bar, and let's also add a placeholder type to search. And for this we're going to use the on key up prop to add the event, and we'll see we'll get its text, and let's create another state variable over here to set that search term. So I'm going to say search term set search term, and let's set the search term to default by an empty. And in this filtering over here, let's add a condition search term if search term is not equals to this, And let's also add the set search term to e.target.value. Right, that's good. So let's implement this later, but first let's tile our search. I'm gonna come over here and add a select over here, input dot search bar. Let's set it to display block. Let's set its padding to 10 pixels, font size to 12 pixels, and border to 1 pixel, solid CCC. Yep. And last thing with 100%, margin bottom 15 pixels. There we go. That is good. So upon this typing, we need to filter the results, and that is simply the results equal to results dot filter. And in this, we're gonna get the data row. And upon here, we need to return true if we need to show this data row, and or false if we don't want to show this, right? So what criteria we're doing that based upon, right? On which criteria? So right now, what we're implementing over here is the simple searching. Whatever term user types over here, we're gonna search it in every column. So if it is present in any of the column of that row, we're gonna show that row. So let's loop through. Let's use object dot values and get all of the value of the current row, right? So that means we're gonna get an array of these values, only these values, right? And we're gonna see call some method. So if any of the function that we're going to pass right now, if any of that value returns true, then that means it is going to return true, and it is going to show that row. So we're going to get that value, and we see that value dot to lowercase that, and if it includes our search term, which we're also gonna turn into lowercase, that is going to filter our results by that search term. So again, I'm going to define this in a pretty simple way. What we're doing over here is we're turning all of the values of the current row, this row, right? We're only taking these values array, right? We're taking an array which contains all of these values as its elements, and we are looping through those elements by calling it sum, right? Sum is another method like the map, like the filter, not like the filter. Filter only returns one value, but okay, filter does not return one value, but sum is like the map, but it doesn't return. It only returns true if on every value it will run this method, and if any of that value is true, then it is going to return true over here. So we're matching the value with the search term, and if any of them is true, then it is going to return true, right? Let's come over here. Okay, let's type let's search Martin, right? So I'm gonna type m, oh, value dot to lowercase is okay. Okay, we forgot to convert the value into string. All right, let's also into string. Okay, let's type martin. There we go. And if we only type mer, then it returns the values with mer, mer, and mer, right? We can also search for 1968. There we go. We got 1968, and we can also search for ma, and we can set it to 10. It will work still good, and we can also sort those results out. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you want to still see more features implementation in the live videos. I'll do them for you, and I'll create more videos and video tutorials for beginners let me know in the comments whatever you guys need in order to see that in our next tutorial, right? I hope you understood that. And if you haven't got something out of it, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to define it out for you. I'll also upload this code to GitHub and share the repo link in the description of this video later. And do support me, guys, by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. See you guys later, right?